Hey everybody, I'm the Rusty Mechanic, and today we're going to take a look at this guy. It's Magic Square MS-03 Heavy Gunner, aka Brawl, from the Combaticons team from the original Transformers G1 cartoon. I'm going to do a complete review of this figure, including a quick unboxing of the figure. We'll take a look at the robot mode from top to bottom, go over all of the accessories that come in the box with him, do a quick transformation, a detailed transformation if you will, into the alt mode, and then we'll take a look at the alt mode as well. And we'll also take a look at his combined mode. He does come with an accessory for the Bruticus combined mode that Magic Square is doing with these figures. So we'll take a quick look at that as well. And before we get into all of that, of course, I do just want to give a shout out to Shozi Store, which is where I got this guy from. You can check out Shozi Store at their website. I'll leave a link to this figure and their website in the description down below so you can check that out. And if you do go and shop at their website, please don't forget to use my code RUSTY on their website. At the top of their website, they have a support your favorite reviewer box. I hope I'm your favorite reviewer, and you can put my code RUSTY in the top of that website so that as you're doing your purchases, it just helps to support the channel and throwing a few Shozi points my way. Also, if you stick around to the end of this video, you can find out how you can win this figure at the end of the month, as I'm having my January raffle in support of Kennedy's Village. I'm going to be giving away Heavy Gunner as well as Munitioner, which is the Swindle version from Magic Square as well. I will give away one or both of these figures at the end of the month, depending on how many entries that I get, but you can stick around to the end of the video, and I'll have more details on that for you. With all that stuff out of the way, let's get into it. Regular bubble packaging for, most Masterpiece figures. I will point out, because you may notice it, maybe I shouldn't point it out, maybe you won't notice it, but I'm going to point it out anyway. On the box, I did actually drop it when I got it from Shozi, and it landed on the corner of the desk, and then I heard it was almost a shattering sound, to be honest. Which was a little disturbing. I thought I had absolutely destroyed the figure. But actually what happened was I just ended up breaking the bubble packaging. So the plastic just kind of broke apart. And then there was all these little shard pieces inside. But the figure itself is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So you get card, instructions, some spotlight accessories, which we'll go over later in the video. And the figure comes in the middle in a plastic bag, so we'll just take that off. We'll stick him off to the side. You get the leg accessory, which we'll go over again later in the video with the accessories. You do get a primary weapon, and you also get some dual cannons for his alt mode. I think this also goes in the hand if I remember, but again, we'll check it out when we do the accessories. Okay, so let's take a look at the figure itself. This is an excellent representation of Brawn compared to the cartoon. We'll just take a quick look off to the side here while I'm going over this. But very, very nice head sculpt, very well detailed, and the everything about this, by the way, is painted from top to bottom. I can't find anywhere where there isn't any paint, with the exception, I think, maybe the hands, but I can't be certain. It's really hard to tell. The hands are a matte black, but I've got a feeling that, I'm just going to bring it in, like, it looks like the back of the hands might actually be painted, but the fingers themselves are just molded plastic, but I honestly, I cannot tell. And I'm having the same problem with the elbow joint here. It's black in here, but I think it might actually be painted in there as well. But anyway, the whole thing is just fantastic. It's got a nice glossy sheen to the olive drab green and the light gray, in fact. Really makes it pop when the light hits it the right way, right? You can see how the light is just reflecting off all the different surfaces from head to toe on this. The head sculpt's just really, really nice. Like, it pops right off the rest of the figure just from the colors. Right? We got this bright glossy orange for the eye visor, I don't even know what color to call this. I'm stuck between like fuchsia and purple and maroon, but I'm not really sure what color to go with. So, you know what? Leave a comment down below if you know what color this is. Ask your significant other and see if they know. Anyway, head sculpt does very well match the cartoon, which is very, very cool. And again, the different colors of the face really make it pop off the rest of the figure. Got the same orange here in the crest, and then we've got all these really nice details around the head sculpt, the venting on either side of the forehead, along with some details that's in the back of the helmet as well. Just a really nice looking, solid looking head sculpt. So really, really cool. Take a look at the rest of the profile. Start from the side, right? We get all the track details here in the side. These are all fixed. Like, this is just molded details in the plastic. None of this moves. This doesn't take away from the look of the figure at all, or even the quality, right? The plastic feels really good. The weight feels really good on it. He's got a backpack, obviously, but it's a tank turret, so I'm not sure what you're expecting. If you're expecting something that doesn't have, a backpack, but it does fit in to the overall style and design of the figure. You don't get the sense that this is a great big thing that shouldn't be here, right? It feels like it's supposed to be there. The barrel collapses down into the turret as well, which is nice, so you don't like have this great big, it's like way, way up here. So it does give a nice front, right, and side profile with the barrel sticking up from the front. Quick look at the back, right? We can see all the details for the tank, which we'll go into once we transform him into the alt mode. Some open gapping here in the back of the legs, but everything is tucked away nicely. Nothing's hanging out anywhere, and you're not really going to be displaying this guy from the back anyway. Anyway, very, very good looking figure. I like the way that this looks. It looks very good just standing there. It's going to look good on your shelf. It's going to look amazing in your collection. I will take a quick look at the accessories. So he does come with this, basically looks like a 50 caliber machine gun that you would find on a tank from World War II, and not a lot. It is just molded plastic, nothing painted. Not much to say about it. There's some nice details going on in the barrel and around the body as well. Some fins on the side here. The comes in the box like this with the handle folded up, so you have a peg for weapon storage on the alt mode, which we'll go over in the alt mode. You just push forward on the peg, and then you'll get the handle to come down with small tab on either side of the handle, which of course you can just peg into the hand as easy as opening up the individually articulated fingers. You can get the thumb out of the way. Find the peg hole that's in the top of the hand. Sorry, let me bring them in there. In the top of the hand, and peg it into place. And then close the fingers around it. There we go. Get that index finger in there as well. And there you go. Just as simple as that. It does seem to be a solid grip, right? It's obviously not moving around. I'm leery about the fact that the tab is really, really small, but it does, surprisingly, it pegs into the hand pretty well. So just something to be aware of, that, like, even right now, like, it's pegged in there and it's not coming out, which, again, I find surprising just because that tab is so small in the hand. But anyway. And then he also comes with set of double cannons for his alt mode. However, there is a handle that's in this as well. Same thing. It is the exact same handle as obviously his other weapon, and pegs in the exact same way. One of the things I do want to point out with this is when I was playing around with this in the alt mode and putting it on the cannon, at some point one of the barrels actually ended up like this. Right, so I went to adjust them, and as I moved this one down, I felt it getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter until the point, like, I actually got it to here, and I couldn't move it anymore, and I didn't understand why. So it turns out that there's actually a screw, and it's a plastic self-threading screw that's inside, that's holding the two of these together. So you can actually over-rotate this around to the point that you could actually break the plastic. So if you're feeling resistance trying to get it into position, go back the other way. And if you rotate these around enough, you'll actually rotate them off the screw and they will come off. So just something to be aware of when you're messing around with this. In the plastic bag that comes in the box is his card. It comes in a plastic sleeve to protect it, which is nice. Credit card style, it is a nice hard plastic, kind of flexible, but it does have that credit card type feel to it. Very nice artwork and details on the card. Stats are on the back along with a silhouette picture of his alt mode and of course the various stats and his name and all that fun stuff. So he also comes with a pair of spotlights. These are also painted, same color as the gray on the body, with some translucent yellowy orange headlamps basically. And these are meant to go on the tank, so we'll check those out when we go over the alt mode, but they are in the bag with the instructions. Speaking of the instructions, they are right here, and they are absolutely terrible. You can use them as a guide, but take them with a grain of salt. The instructions are there, but they don't hold much water, so they go over there. And of course, the best part that we want to look at is the leg accessory that it comes with. This is heavy, heavy plastic, nice and thick, heavy weight to it. We've got some ratcheting in the toe for a toe tilt. We've got some ratcheting in the ankle rocker, heavy, heavy ratchet as you can hear. And then you just want to open this up to extend the back of the leg, and these two tabs will pop it into place. And then once you get it into the alt mode, it does just peg in here and here, which I will show off at the end of the video as the last thing that we review, and we'll go over this leg again. But for now, that'll go right there. All right, let's check out the best, or not the best, sorry, my favorite part of a review, which is the articulation. It's not my favorite part of the review, but I do it for you guys anyway. I always just feel like I'm not doing the articulation properly when I'm doing it. Anyway. So the head is it is not on a ball joint. It's actually on kind of a universal joint here at the back. And as part of the transformation, it is part of the transformation that the head goes all the way back. So he can look all the way up, but he does get a slight head tilt forward as well. And there is no, you can't get any angle because it isn't on a ball joint where you can't get the confused doggy look. But we do get a 360-degree rotation at the head. Shoulders are on an interesting hard ratcheted universal joint / butterfly joint that's in here. So it does go 360 degrees around at the shoulder, right? It does ratchet out 90 degrees, almost 90 degrees, but does impede right there. And I'm telling you, this is a really hard ratchet. As part of the transformation, you are supposed to maneuver the shoulders forward, so that does actually allow you to pivot them out, and then you get a butterfly joint effect as well, so you can use that in your articulating poses. We have a bicep swivel that does 360. We've got an elbow bend that goes slightly over 90 degrees. We have, there is a wrist pivot, 360-degree rotation at the wrist, and an exceptional amount of articulation in the fingers. These are individually articulated fingers with a pin at the secondary knuckle, and the primary knuckle is just a hinge point, so you get a whole bunch of articulation in each one of the fingers. Individually, they can be spread out. The thumb is on a ball joint connected into the hand, so you can pivot that around as much as you want. But there is also a hinge pin joint at the secondary knuckle as well, which means that you also get to bend the thumb around as well. So lots of articulation in the fingers, surprisingly well done, even for a masterpiece figure scale of this size. Masterpiece scale figure of this size. So you do get a ab crunch, 90 degrees, no problem whatsoever. You also get on top of that a waist swivel. What else do we have? So the same hard ratchets, oh my god, that we have in the shoulders, we also have it in the legs. You have to be careful of the hip skirts. So these hinge joints, this seems to be like the latest trend with masterpiece scale figures, or any figure for that matter. So you can pull the leg down a bit because it's on a pivoting universal joint, if you will, that's inside here, just so you can get your finger inside the hip skirt. You do have to be careful because the front part of the hip skirt is actually part of the universal joint. So as you are moving the leg, as you'll see, the front hip skirt actually rotates in a way, which is nice, but you do have to watch that side hip skirt. So you do want to get that side hip skirt out of the way. He also has a back hip skirt that you need to move back. But in doing so, you get, and there's a hard ratchet here. There it is. He does get out 90 degrees, no problem. I'm telling you guys, it's crazy hard. With the hip skirt rotating with the pivoting universal, you do get to kick somebody in the face, basically, with that. And as you can see how the universal is now all the way out here, and then as you rotate it back, it tucks in back underneath the hip skirts. So you can actually also use that to extend the legs down for whatever reason if you want. It is a soft ratchet that is happening there, if you can hear it on the microphone. And then he does kick back very far, far enough, but of course the turret from the tank is going to get in the way, along with the fact that the hip skirt doesn't actually pivot all the way out of the way because the turret is in the way. But that's more than enough for what you need for any poses and articulation. We'll put all that back away. We have thigh rotation. We have, what do we have? Knee bend well over 90 degrees. And then we have an ankle rocker that goes in 90 degrees. And no, that's right. He does not have, there's no toe tilt forward, no heel tilt, no heel out. So the only thing you get is a heel rotation in, which is again actually part of the transformation. All right, let's go over the transformation. It's not a terrible transformation. There's some... So, to be honest, it's the hip ratchets, when you're working the legs, can really get in the way of you wanting to maneuver things where you want. And then there's a lot of paneling going on in the legs. Again, not intuitive. Really got to decipher the instructions. But for the most part, the upper part of the transformation is fairly simple. And then getting everything to tab together is really the other difficult part. It's not that things don't line up, it's that it almost feels like there's clearance issues with the tabs and things, maybe from the paint, that almost makes it like you're struggling to use an excessive amount of force to get everything to pop together. But I will tell you, it does all pop together, and when you get it transformed, it's solid. We'll go over the alt mode once we get there. So we're just going to start with as you typically do with the arms. So I actually want to bend the arms up 90 degrees and open the bottom panel here. Make sure you got the fist completely closed up, along with the thumb tucked away in behind the fingers so that it can fit inside the forearm. And then we just close the panel up, straighten out the arm, rotate it around 180 degrees, and then press the forearm up. That completes one half of the tank treads. We'll pull the arm out because you want to be able to pivot it forward for the transformation. So we'll do the other side again, making sure the fist is completely closed up. Open up the bottom panel of the forearm, close up the fist, close the panel, straighten out the arm, rotate 180, and press into place. Pull the arm out so it's fully extended out. And the arms are done. Next thing, we want to lift the head off of the shoulders, so you'll see that there's these interlocking tabs on either side of the shoulder. That's part of the head assembly, basically. So you just want to lift up on the back of the head to lift the panel away, and you can tilt the head back against that panel because it does need to be back and flat to fold it up inside the chest. Two halves of the chest will actually break away from the centerpiece that makes up the head and chest assembly that gets folded away. So you can pull on either side of the arms just to get it to pop away from these tabs. And then there's a double hinge that's here at the bottom of the shoulders, which you basically, if you lift up on them, and I do find if you rotate the arms, it does up like this, it helps. But you basically want to lift up on the shoulders and keep lifting them up, and you'll feel it double pivot so that you can get the arm out 90 degrees, and that's just to give clearance for everything else. And we'll do the same thing here on this side. There we go. Get the arm out of the way so that you get that 90 degree tilt out like that. Take the head assembly. Now this assembly does slide back as part of the transformation. So when you're doing this, you may actually push this back in. So you want to make sure that it's pulled forward. Sometimes I actually had to get a spudger in the back of it here, just there. See how it slid all the way forward? Because it lets it rotate forward like this, which gives you the clearance to pull out the back of the tank. Or actually, this is the front of the tank. So pull that part out 90 degrees, and then this part also flips up 90 degrees. Okay, so once you have this open like this, then we need to pull the tank turret away from the backpack. So you can just hold the waist and just pull up on the turret. It will lift up like this, and if you continue to pull, then the base of the turret will actually lift away from the backpack, and it'll pull out this sliding pivot joint that's here. Pull it all the way down, and then slide it up into position. You do need to get your finger near it because this needs to go flush. And then once you have it flush, push the turret down, and then push up until this slides into position, at least about that far. Now, once you get it to here, there are, let's see if I can show them. Here we go. If I turn the turret sideways, you'll see that there's another interlocking tab that's right here, and there's one on either side. So they have to go into those spots while you're putting this sliding pivot point forward. It's not super intuitive as to how to do it. You basically just work it until, there we go, everything pops into place like that. And if you push down on the turret and push in on the inside while you're doing it, it does make it easier and everything pops into place. We do want to rotate the waist around as well, which, shoot, it popped out the... So that does happen too. So you may want to do the waist rotation first. I can't remember if that's the way it was supposed to be, but oh no, it locked right back into place. Okay, so that's, yeah. So rotate the waist around and then just make sure that the turret is locked back into place. Put the head away now. So again, rotating the head back inside, flip this up. And earlier when we pulled this forward, now we're going to push this back in so that it's tucked away nicely inside the body of the tank. And then the two halves of the chest will go up underneath here, which will bring the tank treads into place. And again, you're using that double pivot here to get it up to that height. And you want to make sure you're clearing that inner chest area. There we go. Just to bring all that together. Now these two halves don't lock together necessarily. They just kind of sit there. What does lock everything into place is the tank treads will lock into these tabs here, as well as the tabs that are here on the side. So now we want to bring the tank treads down into position, pull them towards the bottom of the tank, right on that butterfly joint that you loosened earlier. Like that. And like that. And then that will line up the holes in the tank treads with those tabs. So then we're going to tab those into place. And again, this is where I was saying that this is one of the areas where it feels like it's a clearance issue, but it's not. It just requires a lot of force. And then there's a tab down here as well to line up in the tank treads, and there you go, it will pop into place. So as you'll see, as I'm lining this one up, squeeze it together, right? It does pull all of that together. And then same thing right there, just line up that tab. You will hear some crunching noises as you're doing this. Rest assured, you are not doing anything wrong. It just means everything is popping into place correctly. I will tell you, you are going to need a spudger for this, because to start off the leg transformation, you have to separate this panel away from the inside of the leg that basically locks the rest of this in place. And it doesn't actually swing away. It literally just kind of pops loose. But getting your finger in there or anything in there is extremely difficult. And it's literally that much. It's just enough to get the tabs loosened from that panel. I'm just going to stick this in here to make sure I have it. I do. It's literally that much. It's just to get the tabs away from this front panel. And then you can rotate the foot in 90 degrees, which will give you some leverage in here to pop this panel out. Okay. Now the turret does get in the way to some degree, so you can maneuver it left and right as you need to get it out of the way. But essentially you want to make sure that this panel, which does bend here, but there's like a double pivot that's here as well. You want to make sure that that is as far forward as possible, even if you have to go as far as maneuvering the leg forward just to get it away from the turret to get that clearance. And it has to do with folding away this panel later. You need to get this out of the way to fold this panel away. So from here, there is a set of panels that are here inside the leg. They can get hooked up on this panel, so you just sort of need to work it around that. So you just want to make sure that you are clearing that panel and swing it out. The bottom half of this will swing out 180 degrees, and then there's an inside panel here that you want to flip down, and another panel that you want to flip over, which tabs into place that locks out basically the front half of the armor plating of the tank. The tank treads will separate from the top half of this section. There is a... can't really see it, but where these two screws are in here, there's a rotating peg that's in here, but it's tabbed in like here and here, and it's a very tight fit. I find, again, it is easier if you can get a spudger in here to get it to untab. Get it to untab there like that. And I typically find if you work the front one, it pops the back one. But as you can see now, it's on a rotating pivot. So you want to pop that loose, come around to the other side. This entire gray panel will also pop loose. Grab it from the front here. I said from the... there we go. Pop it out, pull it forward so that it's on this peg here, right? So you want to pull it out from that peg, rotate it 180 degrees, and the front half of this will fold down to collapse. Sorry, it was rotate 180 degrees the other way so that you have the clearance. So you can fold it up underneath and then bring it in line with the leg, like that. As you can see, the tank treads have already started to rotate around, so you just want to rotate them around and then push them back into position. They will tab into place like that. Panel that I was talking about that you unlocked earlier. So you want to rotate this 1/2 panel inside, turn it in like this, so that's 90 degrees, and then this smaller panel will fold flat here, which gets all of that in out of the way. The back part of this, which is a canister, which makes up the heel, actually double pivots right here, so you want to break it away from the back of the foot, and then rotate it so that this tab that was in the bottom here will now tab into position right there like that. And then you want to rotate the foot 90 degrees. Take this panel that's in here and flip it out, and it has a bunch of tab points. Rotate the foot in, and then that part tabs into place, and this makes up the back top of the tank. Now that this is all out of the way, right, you can pivot this so that it moves up to the back part of the tank, and then you want to line up the leg to get it ready to connect to the other half of the tank, which you get it all collapsed. Then you want to bring all of this forward, and there is another double pivot that's happening right here, so you want to bring all this forward and then line it up so that this tab goes in here, that tab goes in there. And you just want to line all of this up. Again, as you're doing this, you're going to hear amazing crunching sounds as you're doing it, but that just means that you're doing it properly. When you get that in, if you flip it over and look at the bottom, there's another interlocking connector here from the rear tread to the front tread, so you just want to lift this up. It'll basically pivot at the hip there. Pivot that into there like that. And then finally we'll take the front half of the tank, which is on this double pivot arm here. This is going to go into the back half of the body, and then all of this, so all of these tab points that are here are going to go into the front half of the armor. And it does, again, make some interesting crunching sounds as you're doing this. And there you go. So that's what one half of the tank looks like. Now, as you can see, this is kind of pivoting off this way. Again, this has to do with those hard ratchets that are in there, so you just need to play with it a bit to get it to line up. But you will be able to squeeze it all together once you get the second half of the tank done. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the other leg and do the exact same thing. So we're going to pivot the foot out. We're going to swing this leg out, grab your spudger, get in here. You do have to come at it from a couple of different angles just to get it to pop, right? So there you go. Again, it's as much as that. That's as much as you're getting out of it. Pop the front panel loose, which helps to unlock everything. Make sure you have this panel as far forward as possible. We're going to pivot that out. We're going to... I'm just trying to remember. There was a better way to do this. I think it had to do with... Here, let me try this a different way. I think it had to do with this. Because I think the instructions kind of have this out of order. Because I think the way that I did the other leg is the way that the instructions have it. So pop this out, pull it forward, and fold away the front half. And then we'll get this separated. Again, work the front. Or just use brute force. There we go. Oh, that one actually popped off from the rear. Okay. Okay. So, oh, right. That's what it was. If you do this first, if you pop this panel and this track first, it allows you to actually pivot this entire section on the double pivot that's here. You just have to watch this panel. But now you can swing this out 90 degrees, which then lets you clear this arm. That's what it was. Straighten this out. Pull out the panel on the inside. Flip this over so that it all locks into place. Leave that all like that. Flip the tank treads around, re-tab them into place. Again, very tight tabs. Come back over here. We'll, without moving the knee, there we go, pivot this part out of the way. Make sure this is extended all the way forward so that you can rotate this in. But you want to put in this medium panel first, rotate the big panel 90 degrees, put down the small one, and you're done. We'll go back to the foot here. So we need to get the foot tucked away. So again, we're taking this canister, breaking it off of the back of the heel so that it untabs from here. Come around to the other side, and as you rotate this up, this tab will tab into this slot that's here. Very ingenious, by the way. And then you can put the foot... Oh, sorry, before you put the foot up... Yeah, sorry, right. Put the foot up. Take this inside panel, flip it all the way out. Rotate the foot inside of the leg panel. And then bring that small panel down to tab the foot into place. Collapse this so that it makes up the back of the tank. And while we've been doing that, I have managed to rotate the leg 90 degrees. So this panel will go forward and tuck into there like that. And we can take this side piece and we're going to bring this in and line up these tabs here so that we're finishing off the back part. Come on, work with, there we go. Finishing off the back part of the tank. Interesting that it pivoted at the knee there. Okay, so let's come over and we'll make sure we have this interlocking tab slide into the treads. And then as you can see, there's a great big tab that's here that goes into the other half of the tank mode, and it does just take some maneuvering, right, to get it to line up. But once you squeeze it together, it pops into place and locks everything nicely. These will also line up as well. You can give them a squeeze. So at the back of the tank, just give everything a final squeeze to make sure it's all together. And then we'll move to the front. This pivots in there. All these tabs line up to the front armor plating. Should all line up very easily. Give everything a squeeze. You'll hear some nice satisfying crunching sounds, meaning you've got everything in place together. And then finally, you'll notice, by the way, this is something interesting. So when the barrel is collapsed, this will not move. Okay, will not pivot up. So don't try to force this if the barrel is in, but you can extend the barrel, and now you have your articulation for the barrel. And now we can take a look at the alt mode. Very, very cool looking alt mode. Again, I'm a sucker for transformations that give us some type of realistic, real-world vehicle mode. Again, as I said before, it doesn't have any moving tracks. This is all just molded plastic here for the treads and the wheels themselves, although the details in them are very, very nice. But it does have rollers that are built into the tracks on the bottom here, which lets it move very, very easily. Very smooth, very cool. Very, very low to the ground as well. Like you don't really see any clearance between the shelf, right, or the pad here and the track. So well done there. Lots of cool details on this. Looking at it from the top, right, we've got all of these, as we saw from the robot mode, right, but there's all these hatch details and tank details, right, armor plating, rivets, the whole 9 yards. It's great. Those launchers are here on the turret as well that you saw in the chest. Now, interestingly, these are on the turret, and it's not like during the transformation they suddenly ended up here. So these launchers are just molded permanently part of the turret. So that's one kind of nitpicky point, but I mean it's so minor. I almost couldn't be bothered to mention it. Venting back here for the engine bay, along as additional venting here. We've got the canister on either side. Right, this was the heel, and now it's part of the back of the tank. Not a lot of gapping. Like everything is well tucked away. Some line paneling going on from getting everything moved from the legs up to the front of the tank, but again, the painting is so nice and so well done, and the details so well done. It's barely noticeable. Details in the barrel, right? We've got different sections of the barrel detailed out here. Splayed out barrel at the end. What else? Hatches up here at the front of the tank for the driver and the gunner. Really nice detail here at the front, right? We've got some translucent orange lights at the front of the tank. I mean, it's just really, really nice to look at. If you are going to display this in alt mode, this is a very nice looking, well painted, high gloss paint, lots of nice details, alt mode that you can sit on your shelf, right? I mean, just look at that right there. That's very, very nice looking. All of the accessories that he comes with do have places on the alt mode. We'll start with those two double cannons. So with the handle folded up, these tabs that are here is the base, and this is facing forward. So you do just want to rotate these two barrels up. Like I said, pay attention to how much tension you're getting as you are rotating these things up. As I said at the beginning of the video, when I originally was playing with these, I couldn't actually get this one into a straight line position because it had been over rotated on the screw that's here. So I just had to rotate it around counterclockwise to get it to loosen off the screw, and then I was able to get it to line up in this position. So be aware of that. So these two 90-degree tabs, if you will go into these 90-degree slots that's in front of this canister. Very simple fit, just like that. And of course you can then pivot these into position. Next, we'll take a look at his primary weapons. So again, in robot mode, he does have his handle. So you just want to fold the handle away to get this this peg. And the position for this gun is in the rear hole tab port that's here at the back of the turret. Actually, I'm just going to get this out of the way because it is in the way. Just so that you can pop that in. And I will tell you, this is a very tight fit. Again, I think it has to do with the paint application. They may not have taken that into account when they designed it. But there you go. It looks like that. And I am going to now, so I've done it to myself again. So I'm going to pop this out of the way because I wanted to save these for last anyway. So I'm going to take the gun and the cannons out to have a look at the spotlights, right? So these are the two spotlights that it comes with. It's in the accessory bag that comes with the instructions and the card. And they go into the two holes that are here, right? So there's a tab on the bottom that goes in. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show this and try this. I was not able to get these into the holes. And again, I think it has to do with the fact that these are painted and the holes are painted inside. So the paint application on this and the paint application in the holes has caused a clearance issue to get these into place. And I remember there was another reviewer that I stumbled across who said the exact same thing. They could not get theirs in there and they actually had to shave the peg down. I'm not going to do this because I am raffling this off later at the end of the month. But I will tell you, I have not been able to get... No, I'm not... My hand just cramped up. It was that bad. So that's how much pressure I was putting. I actually cramped up my hand. So unfortunately, if you are going to put those onto the alt mode, you probably do need to shave down the pegs just a little bit to get that clearance back so that you can get them into those holes. I don't want to do it, again, because I'm giving the figure away at the end of the month, and I don't want to go damaging anything for whoever the winner will be. But anyway, let's put all of the other accessories back on. So this, and you do get some angle as well, because the handle rotates, so you can actually tilt it up and down slightly. And then we'll put this guy back on here, and there you go. So that's what he looks like with all of his weapon storage, and I'm sure he would look a little bit cooler with those spotlights on, but I cannot get them in there, and I don't want to damage anything. So anyway, very, very cool looking alt mode with the weapon storage regardless. I absolutely love this figure. He is amazing and solid too. Like he's got, it's amazing how much heavier Masterpiece figures feel when you transform them into, you know, especially like the Carbots and the, you know, these guys, tanks and things like that have like a solid mode to them. He just feels so much heavier with everything compacted down. Really, really solid. Everything's locked in. Nothing hanging out. Really good alt mode. And just real quickly for the last accessory, obviously we'll show off the leg mode, which is very simple. Like this is so drop dead simple. It's almost super obvious as to how this is supposed to go. So his combiner mode, he sits like this, and I think that they say to actually collapse the barrel for the alt mode, but of course that's going to be dealer's choice. Although it might interfere with the knee or something down the road, so who knows. Anyway, these two barrels that are at the back that rotated, did that like double 90-degree rotation, they do the same thing again, so that it tucks underneath the bottom, underneath the bottom of the tank here. So you're just going to take the two of them and untab them from the back and rotate them underneath. And I'm just, yeah, and they tab in, they basically tab into the original position that they were in for the foot. And that is just to get them out of the way. There we go. There's one. And there's two. And then on the front, this front panel that's here actually opens just by pulling down on this tab that's here at the front to expose the double tab and the two holes that are here, which go onto the double tab and the two pegs that are here. So actually, I showed that wrong. He actually goes nose down with the barrel facing up. So once you have this open, it's literally just peg him into place on top of those. And then these two tabs that are here tab into the back of the thighs that are up underneath the tank. And just need to line them up, and it's very lined up. It's very easy to do. It's as simple as that. And take a look at it all the way around. Again, this is all painted as well, which is the other truly amazing thing. I think even the foot is painted gray, and again, same color as the tank. Nice high gloss sheen to it, right? As I showed earlier, it is going to have. It should have. There we go. So it is going to have a toe tilt, right? And like, look at that, right? That's awesome. So there is like a double pivot toe tilt that's happening there. And it is a very heavy ratchet. And then it also has an ankle tilt, which also has a very heavy ratchet as well. But, well, that's not going to stand up on its own, obviously. But I mean, like, he's going to be able to do the splits, right? Like, that's pretty crazy for a combiner, right? But there's some nice heavy ratcheting that's going on there. Like, it's just really, really nice. This is going to be a really nice looking combiner, I think, if they get the chest and the face sculpt right. But so far, super excited about this set. Almost sad to be giving it away, but it is for a good cause, and I will talk about that in a minute. Some final thoughts on this figure. Again, this is an outstanding figure from a company that has been doing Legend scale stuff very, very well, and they easily take everything that they've been doing in the Legend scale and just upscaling it into the Masterpiece scale and giving us a fantastic figure. Solid figure with solid plastic, nice paint applications from top to bottom. Transformation is a little more complicated than I would like it to be, and the some of the clearance issues during the transformation can be a little bit annoying, but if you take your time at it and are careful with it and don't manhandle the figure, you won't have any issues with it. It is a fairly enjoyable and intuitive transformation overall, and the look of the figure in its combined leg mode and the leg accessory that comes with it just gives me high hopes for this version of Bruticus. I know there's a number of other reviewers that have already looked at this guy and have already made statements like they're probably going to swap out their existing MMC or other Combaticon combiner sets that they have with this one because they do like it so much. It does seem like it is going to be a solid representation, not only from the quality of the figure and the accessories, but just the overall look and feel of this figure so far. As I said at the beginning of the video, I am going to be giving this figure as well as MS-04 Munitioner, which is Swindle, right, from this team. I'm going to have both of these as a giveaway at the end of the month. If I have 100 entries by the end of the month, and I currently have 90, so we're very, very close to doing the giveaway at the end of the month, I will give away one of the two figures. If I have 200 entries, then I'm going to give away both to the winner. You can check out details down below in the description. I've listed links on a video that I have on my YouTube channel that explains all the rules to the raffle and how it all works. A link to my Facebook page with additional information on the monthly raffle that I have every month, and also the link as to how you can actually enter the raffle by using a link to my buymeacoffee.com website, Rusty Mechanic website, which is where you can actually put in your entry for the raffle. It's $1 per entry. You can enter as many times as you want. And again, if we get up to that 100 or 200, I will give both of these figures away at the end of the month. If I don't get enough entries, I'll just carry it over to next month until I give these figures away. Again, all of this is in support of Kennedy's Village, which is an organization near and dear to my heart, belongs to one of the co-hosts from the podcast that I do on the Realm of Collectors channel called Do You Even Transform Bro? And the Kennedy's Village Foundation helps to bridge the gap between research and care for sickle cell disease. So if you're willing to help out that organization and you're looking to get some free figures, please check that description down below so you can find out how to get involved. All that said, once again, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I am the Rusty Mechanic. We'll see you next time.